everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Alternative Input, the only podcast on the internet. And I am here with another segue I was not prepared for. My two favorite, my two favorite harmonica songs.
Is that your kid or something doing that?
Yes. My two favorite harmonica songs. On the left, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's Wally.
Yeah, I don't have a witty remark. I wasn't expecting harmonica songs.
and Oh Come All Ye Faithful, it's Chuck.
Joyful and triumphant. I sang that song in choir, and that's my thing. That's what I got going for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yep.
You did it good.
Yep. That's all real good, everybody. I'm so happy that you're all here.
Chuck's mic sounds real nice, is what he's trying to tell you.
I spend a lot of good money on this fucking mic, and I'm gonna make the most of it.
Hashtag sponsor. Hashtag ad.
Hashtag snowball.
Hashtag snowball. So, apocalypse continuing. Weirdly enough, all these crazy things happening, but weirdly enough, hard to believe, but video games are continuing to happen.
For now.
I'd say they're doing quite well considering the quarantine situation.
People need
exactly.
Chuck's doing great.
Your son's great. He's probably the most entertaining person on this podcast.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so I don't know. You guys been playing anything?
Yeah, I've been playing some games, recent ones too.
Whoa, I'm intrigued, sir.
All right, so as you know, I have been still going through Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 because that's a title.
Because that's a title.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wennon's a big Chain of Memories fan.
Yeah, he's a really big Riku fan. He loves Kingdom Hearts.
So I did end up beating the first one. It's still a good game. It still holds up. I've moved on to Rechain of Memories. Oh, what are you saying?
It's the first one.
It is the first one. So then I moved to Rechain, and the series immediately went downhill because it introduced the organization and all the evils that came with that.
Mm-hmm.
It sure did. And that's the PS2 game, the 3D remake of the GBA game.
Yes.
To clarify to people.
Because that makes sense.
Fuck this series. He's just ranting and raving about 2.5Ds not being loyal to the original release and everything. They actually changed the resolution on the cutscenes and everything. It totally like reframes Riku's backstory and takes him like slightly out of shot. It's disgusting.
Oh, you should have seen him, man. He was protesting for like a week and a half when he saw the changes they made in Rechain of Memories. He was so pissed.
So, for those unaware, Rechain is basically the same story as the original Kingdom Hearts, but with cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now that, to me, sounds great off the bat. I like the original Kingdom Hearts. I like card building games. Pretty good. What the...
Oh, sorry, Wally. It's not your fault.
No, it's fine. Whatever he has to say is loads better than what I'm going to say.
What any of us are going to say, really. We should, instead of recording this episode, you should just put the mic up to your kid and we just let him ramble for like 2 hours. He'll be more coherent than anything we say.
Who's to say I didn't already plan on doing that?
Okay, that's good. Sorry, please
He's
continue.
just going through the motions with us.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Nobody's Lenining.
Everybody's Lenining. So anyway, Rechain.
So Rechain.
Some things I like about the change. It's no longer isometric. I've had a strong aversion to isometric Game Boy games ever since playing the Spyro game that was on Game Boy Advance. Platformers do not work in isometric. Not ones that involve flying, anyway.
I can see that.
The change to 3D has made some fights a lot easier, mostly with enemies that block frontal attacks, because now you can hit them from any angle as opposed to left or right, since battle on the Game Boy was 2D and flat.
Lovely.
They added some stuff from later games, like voice acting for one, and it definitely takes place after 2 in terms of the voice acting cast.
I thought Rechain was between 1 and 2.
Yes, but they cast the voice acting after 2.
Oh, so they use like the voice actors from 2.
Yes.
Or after 2. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same cast, they're just older, and you can tell.
Something up, Doug?
So I will say one thing, Wally, did you, because I remember this from the 1.5, 2.5. I forget if it's Birth by Sleep or one of the cutscene compilation ones, but I know one of them gives you extra content in Reshadow of Memories. Did you end up doing that?
I want to say it's 358/2, which definitely needed to just be relegated to cutscenes. I haven't done that yet. I'm waiting for New Game Plus.
Okay.
And because
I just knew that was
No. Yeah, I'd heard about that too.
Seemed like a weird little thing.
Yeah, they added a bunch of stuff from 2 into Rechain, like I think half a dozen Keyblades and stuff. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about getting both characters to level 99, though, to get all the achievements.
Wonder why.
Or beating them on Proud Mode, which is surprising that they added Proud Modes to this game.
That's how proud they were of it.
And that Sora story got through it pretty well. Hit Riku's story, and everything just kind of grinds to a halt.
Why is that?
Riku's deck works differently than Sora's deck.
His decks are pre-made. There is no customization at all.
They just change as you go through the game, right?
Yeah, every floor has a different deck. There is some stuff that he gets that Sora doesn't, like access to King Mickey as an ally. And he's got like an innate double jump and some other stuff. But the lack of customization really hurts the game. It really just kind of tacked on.
For a deck builder, that seems really weird.
Yeah. Rechain did add something, though, that makes his combat not nearly as monotonous, and that's the duel system.
Yeah, the duel system's cool.
Oh, I love it. It's why I would want to go back and do stuff, because that's fun.
What is it exactly?
So, all your cards are ranked 1 to 9 with 0s as wilds. If you play a higher value card than your opponents, you break them. If they play a higher value than yours, they break yours. You can combine up to 3 cards to get to a max of 27. The duel system works if you tie somebody. Then you go into like a quick draw event where you have to beat the cards that they play in rapid succession, and when you do, you get like a super attack based on what the enemy is and how many cards you had to break.
And I think you literally have like, what is it, like 2 or 3 seconds to react to them?
If it's 3 cards, I think you have, what is it? I think 4 seconds. 5 cards is 6 seconds, and 7 cards is 8 seconds. A lot of the decks are built with the enemy patterns in mind, so you only have to move like 1 or 2 cards over. But it requires a lot of, I've done this fight before against this type of enemy. I know what pattern they're going to use. So it's kind of Dark Souls-y where you got to know what you're going up against. And that can make bosses hard. It can make bosses really hard. Because the big problem with Riku is that he has no healing ability outside of King Mickey or the Oogie Boogie enemy card once you get it.
Yeah.
It's a pain.
Sounds like it.
I'm not the hugest fan of Rechain of Memories, but there are a bunch of little usability things that they improve over the GBA game, mostly because that GBA game is infinitely more old and has like just a bunch of little UI things that make it harder to play.
Yeah. Yeah, Rechain is definitely the definitive version because they added a lot and they made it a lot more user-friendly. I just don't like Riku's story.
I just don't like Riku.
I just don't like Chain of Memories. It started the, hey, let's retell the first game story again chain.
And it
which I
gave
think
us
their
the organization, which made the fan base a toxic hellhole.
That's fine. Hey, whatever, man. Axel for life.
Oh, don't you start.
Bishi, Axel Bishi.
Yes, the Kingdom Hearts shipping is exactly what I was alluding to.
Yeah.
Great.
Because when you've got an organization of 12 guys and 1 girl... So, instead of that, I've been playing The Witcher 3. Finally.
Yay!
How's that going?
I am level 9 and I am almost 30 hours in.
Sounds
I have some issues with this game.
I did too.
Boo.
I will start this off. I love this game. I love the world. I love the combat. I love the sheer amount of stuff there is to do, but it is not a perfect game.
Can confirm. What are some of the things that are grinding your gears about it, Wolves?
Leveling. Leveling is a chore. Anytime I find something that gives me extra EXP, it's almost mandatory that I have to have it.
So it's just like really hard to level up. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I played Witcher 3 myself. So it just take a while to level
EXP.
up.
Like you have to find quests to level up, and the enemy variety varies wildly. You can be fighting a pack of level 1 wild dogs 1 minute, and then find a pair of level 21 wyverns. I'm still level 9.
So I will personally say I don't remember leveling being a problem in that game. Are you just playing on the standard difficulty?
Yes.
Because, yeah, I don't remember leveling being an issue. I remember being under level for a fair amount of the game, but I also remember not really having that much issue fighting higher level enemies if I had the right gear.
It really depends on the enemy and just how far leveled they are. Like I fought a wyvern by myself, and I was able to stun lock it by just smashing it against a riverbed, and it couldn't go into the river, so it couldn't do anything. I tried that with a different type of dragon. I think it was a forked tail, and instead it just spun around and smashed me in the face with its forked tail, and I died.
Technically, wyverns aren't really dragons; they're a distinct species. Just point that out.
Yes, I referenced that they are both draconids.
I just wanted to make sure that we were all up to date on proper fantasy lore. But yeah, it's I don't remember. I think I remember hitting some roadblocks in certain side quests or anything. It was like, oh yeah, that's meant for people who are like twice the level I am. I'm going to come back to that later, I guess, if I care. I think I remember that happening a few times, but I don't recall.
It's been happening to me a lot. Like, I'll go to a new village. Oh, hey, a message board. Let's see what contracts I have. Oh, let's start this. Oh, it's level 20. Oh, it's level 30. Oh, it's level 35. I'm still level 9.
Sounds like you're wandering too far.
But all the wild enemies are pretty much at my level, except for a few rare ones.
Yeah, I've been wondering about that those guys scale.
Scaling is an option you can turn on. The problem with enemy scaling is that it doesn't increase EXP or drops. It just makes them harder.
Yes.
Which I also have issue with.
Yeah, I get that one. Let's see. I'm trying to remember from your section of where you are. Have you done any? Have you changed to a different character? Is how I'll phrase it.
I have done the first segment of that. Yes.
Okay.
I found
She's the reason I'm more than sure a Witcher 4 is going to be just her.
I found it kind of underwhelming in just what I could and mostly could not do.
Yeah.
That doesn't change.
I remember those segments being kind of bad.
Oh, they're not great.
And again, I'm going to pull from the Riku argument, the lack of healing is an issue.
Don't you have like an auto heal over time or something? Out of combat?
Yes. But usually when I'm not in combat, I don't need to heal.
Yeah, good point.
But also when you're playing those sections, I mean, she's markedly like more equipped and stronger than Geralt is, so I didn't really find healing to be a problem in those sections.
I think he was talking in general.
Oh, I thought he was talking about those series sections.
I was talking about the series sections. Geralt has so much healing.
Okay, never mind. I'm stupid. Nobody was
made sure to get a lot of healing.
Nobody listened to me ever again. I'm gonna log off the podcast.
Geralt is beefy boy.
My Geralt is permanently just drugged up on some kind of monster mutagen.
Good.
Because I have made sure to get every advantage I can against all these assholes. If there is a new alchemy recipe, I buy it. If there's a new bomb, I've bought it. If there's new gear, I don't craft it because money's an issue.
My problem with that game was that for all that whip service and everything that was paid towards like trying to get every advantage you can and crafting these recipes to help you fight certain monsters and everything, like I never felt as though the bonuses against monsters were all that worth it. Like I think like the biggest buff I ever saw was like a 10% damage buff to like this one particular monster type and everything. I was like, well, that's not nearly worth the trouble of gathering resources and everything.
Those advance, though. I'm getting to the point where I'm finding the tier 2 of the monster oils, which do a 25 increase. And since I'm working on the oil ability tree, I've got a lot of synergies with that, too. Like, I get damage reduction against those enemies when they hit me. I can poison them easier with the oils.
Okay.
There's a lot of synergy in the abilities and what everything you can do with the enemies. And I like that learning about them is mandatory because I'm a lore whore.
That's fine.
I'm going to remember that name.
Hey, Witcher 3, don't worry. It has plenty for you.
I'd have to say my other big problem with the game, before I get into all the good things about it, is, it's a good and bad thing. It's the size of the world.
What do you mean by that exactly?
It feels very Bethesda, in which there's stuff to do, but there's a lot of emptiness in between those areas.
Wally doesn't like horse riding.
Well, I don't like horse riding because I'll miss stuff, and I don't want anyone to hit Roach. Roach deserves better.
Well, so I will personally say I can see a scenario where that game's traversal has aged poorly, in that I feel like Breath of the Wild made better use of a similar structure, even though it's not exactly the same genre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Breath gives you just more you can do with like the paragliding and
scaling,
and just like the discoverability felt so much more like immediately satisfying than most other open world games. So maybe it's not a perfect example, but when you play something that is just measurably better, it's hard to not compare older things.
For all the problems I have with Breath of the Wild, I will say that it has maybe the best sense of adventure that I've ever had in a video game.
And the best cooking song.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know that is part of the problem, is that this is like a 5-year-old game, and signs of age are present.
Yeah.
That all that out of the way, this is still a fantastic game.
Yay.
Word.
The world is huge, and there is a lot to it. I just wish Witcher 1 and 2 were...
sucked less.
Yes. I wish Witcher 1 was playable, and Witcher 2 was playable on console.
I wish Witcher 2 sucked less.
Witcher 2 is technically... Is that not backwards compatible?
No, I can run the game, it just doesn't play well.
No, it doesn't. I'm not defending Witcher 2. Witcher 1 and 2 are weird Euro jank games, but that first game has a special place in my heart. That game is so weird and stupid.
Yeah, like, I have Witcher 2 on my Xbone. I've tried to play it. It is not optimized for consoles. It runs so bad.
It's not optimized for anything.
It's not optimized for human beings.
Yeah, you need to be a Witcher to play The Witcher 2.
You have to manually switch to your silver sword or your iron sword for combat. Otherwise, you'll just notice that you're doing like 50% less damage.
And in order to swap between them, you need to go into the debug menu and like put in the code script for them and everything. It's a real pain.
Whereas the first game is a rhythm game, and sexual conquests are a collectible in that game.
Literally.
That game is hilarious.
But yeah, I definitely am on somewhat of a Witcher kick.
Yay. I've always said it's a way better Game of Thrones game than the Game of Thrones games we got.
I hear that Witcher Netflix show is really inspiring people to play that video game.
I watched a couple episodes of it.
I've watched the first season, and I enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty good.
I was more impressed with it than I thought I'd be.
Well, it helps that that Superman playing the lead character is a huge fan of David Cook or whatever, so.
Henry Cavill's really hot, I'm told.
And they didn't have to CGI his mustache away.
Exactly.
They just had to CGI an entire beard on him.
And he lost his JoJo stand where he can punch in the air and grow a shirt pocket.
So yeah, Witcher sounds cool. Anything else you want to state on it?
I need to play the Gwent standalone game now because I'm really into Gwent.
I would suggest not, because they changed the rule set in a way that makes it not fun.
Oh, boo.
What did they change?
You can try it if you want because it's free or whatever, but so there's a bunch of things in Gwent that make it not really work as a competitive game, because not the least of which being you take the other player's cards if you win. But there's a bunch of cards they changed. There's a bunch of rule sets they changed. I can't really go over the specifics because I haven't played original Gwent in a while, but I was very disappointed when that game came out.
So it's taking Yu-Gi-Oh! From the anime and making it into an actual card game.
It sure is.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I would suggest just sticking to Gwent and game, or play King of Cards.
I do.
Even though that's more of triple triad.
King of Cards. That sounds familiar.
Shovel Knight.
Oh right, God. Is that free?
Huh?
Is that free? Because I have that like Shovel Knight
Trove.
Treasure
Trove, then yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. I thought I heard that was good. Man, that Yacht Club games, or whatever the fuck they're called, they do weird stuff with their properties.
Well, especially now.
Yeah.
They have a fucking phone game coming out, a sort of sequel, other game. Shovel Knight, I think, is like tied with like the Castlevania characters for inclusions in games that are not his.
I think so, yeah. Including Smash Bros.
And also, did you guys see that canonically he has a fish face?
No.
No, I have not.
There's games where they've shown him without the helmet and he has a fish face.
Fascinating. I'm kind of disappointed.
I can't tell if it's an inside joke or if it's canon.
I'm kind of disappointed, not because it would be disappointing or anything, but because I enjoyed the mystery.
Same.
Yeah, on the subject of Gwent, I sort of had a weird experience, and I think it mirrored Jim Sterling's, and that I ignored it for the vast majority of the game, but then got to that tournament quest that they had in the big city area, and I was like, oh man, I wish I had jumped on this sooner. And then I went back through a good swath of the geographical areas in the game, trying to collect cards and beat people who I'd already done fucking quests with. Dude,
yeah.
It's a good time.
See, I just do it to make money.
There you go. Both are
because
good options.
Money's an issue, and that's canonical, because every fucking quest entry makes fun of Geralt for being poor.
Yes.
Aww.
But also, when you start selling just shittier swords for your better swords, money stops being a problem.
Yeah, I don't remember money being that big of an issue. But I tend to...
You need to stick to main quests until you get to the big city, and then you should be fine after that for leveling and money.
Yeah, but that's not fun. I have a huge world, and damn it, I'm going to explore it and get frustrated when I can't do it.
Dragon Age Inquisition had the exact same problem.
I will make my experience worse, and you can't stop me.
We all did that.
I know Inquisition had that problem. I stopped playing Inquisition.
We all did the exact same thing. We all played through everything in the hinterlands, so you never had to level again, and then it made the whole game boring.
I thought Inquisition was okay.
No, because I turned up enemy scaling on that, too, because EXP was a problem. That was the opposite problem.
Fair enough. Inquisition sucks.
Speaking of
it's better than Witcher 3.
Disagree.
Yes, Wally?
Speaking of fish faces, I also have been playing Animal Crossing.
Ooh.
Yay.
Do any fish actually have faces? And there are no fish people, I don't think.
There's an octopus person.
Are octopi technically fish?
Are octopus people? Chuck's asking the hard questions here.
I know people get a little tired of our political discourse here, but it does have to come up every now and again because, art is related to politics and everything. And so we do have to ask, are octopi people? Do they have rights? I would argue no. I think that they're discussing ink monsters and they should be put to death. But, hey, you're entitled to your opinions.
Be sure to go to your national census to weigh in.
I would argue that octopi are smarter than most children.
Bam.
You're right, and I would argue that we should do something about the kids too. But I'm not in charge of the free world.
Take that, babies. Try to figure out 8 opposable limbs.
Oh, you cried at the sheer horror of being alive, you fucking wusses.
It only gets worse from here, kids.
Nowhere to go but down.
and your one solace is Animal Crossing. Wally has Animal Crossing. Sorry, go ahead, Doug.
All I was going to say was there's nothing like starting as a pile of goo and being handed a piece of paper telling you to figure out to be a person. And you spend 9 months doing that, and then you come out and somebody just tells you it's only downhill from here.
Yeah.
Nothing personnel, kid. So anyway, Animal Crossing.
Off on a bit of tangent there.
This is the best Animal Crossing.
That's what I've been told.
I say this unabashedly.
And you're only like how many days into playing it now?
I started yesterday.
You're not worried about any recency bias or anything?
Nope.
The man is. I gave him the opportunity to hedge his bets, and he didn't take it. This man is confident.
I'm going to double down.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Better than my girlfriend. Better than my son.
He's burning his copy of New Leaf.
My girlfriend's played more of it than I have. She played 10 hours on release day. Straight.
Jesus. What does there even do that early on?
Fish.
So, yeah, what's your... so I saw the intro as well. You are... The player is going with the Tom Nook's Deserted Island Getaway Package. You're flying to a deserted island and going to essentially colonize it and build it up with a community and whatnot. What's been your experience like going through the tutorial segments and whatnot? Because it has it's a slower burn in comparison to other Animal Crossings, I've been told.
Oh, it definitely is. You don't start with a museum, for one. And even once you get it, it takes time for it to be built. Like, that's what I'm waiting on now. So that's annoying.
Mm.
We got the shops online, too, which you have to gather resources to literally build it, which I like and don't like.
When you say they're online, what do you mean exactly?
Like, to get the store up and running.
Oh, to get them online. I thought you meant like, man, that echo is real bad. Okay. I think it's gone now. When you said online, I was worried that you meant that they were just on the internet and you had to make resources to build the internet or something. Internet infrastructure on your island. I'm stupid.
Oh, that might be a thing. Who knows? Yeah, having to gather resources is weird, but it works. Item durability is a little bit of an issue, though.
That's what I've been hearing, yeah. It's all games are Breath of the Wild now, kids.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, there's item durability? Was
Yes.
that in the original game?
Nope.
No, it is new to this one.
You have to craft your fishing rods and bug nets. Yes, Lennon, we're also upset.
He's very upset about the item durability.
I mean, for the most part, it's not bad. Resources are very plentiful.
But
it's not something I'm used to, and I'm worried about... Well, I'm worried what I'm going to have to do to get the golden tools that assumably won't break.
I think I've heard that those things also break.
Oh, that's just cruel.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I think that's just like some rando post comment thing that I saw on Reddit, so take that with a grain of salt, obviously, but...
I'll take that with a shaker of salt.
But yeah, I do think it's a little weird that they're... If you're going to have item durability in your games, I think you should have a way to easily repair items as well, and neither Breath of the Wild nor Animal Crossing seem to have that option.
I
would like a way to see what my item's durability is as well.
Okay, that seems like an actual oversight. That sounds like something they'll patch.
I'm really hoping that's a patch, because I'm getting annoyed of not knowing how much I have left of this tool. I think I can cheese it, though, by using the base tool almost until it breaks, then upgrading it to a higher tier, and I think that'll give it full durability again. I'm going to have to test this, though.
Live theory.
Pro strats.
Wally's pro strats.
But otherwise, they've just done a whole lot to really give you absolute control of your island.
Awesome.
Yeah, have you gotten to edit the island at all?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't think I'm anywhere close to terraforming. I can't even scale cliffs yet.
Yeah. It takes a little while to actually be able to navigate the place entirely, let alone start editing the island.
Yeah, when you start, you can't cross rivers because there's no bridges yet. You have to wait until Blathers gets there, and he'll give you the ability to make shovels and a vaulting pole, which really opens up a lot of the island.
So is Mr. Shifty anywhere in the game?
Do you mean Reed the Fox?
Whoever yells at you about turning off your console.
Oh, Rossetti.
Oh, Rossetti.
Yeah, Rossetti, that's it.
Well, the game autosaves.
Yeah, he lost his job at the reset center because the game autosaves, but I think he's still part of the rescue service that the game now has.
Yeah,
they still gave him a job. That's good.
Yeah, they promised that.
Get him back on his feet.
Yeah, they do a lot to keep the canon. Like the turnip sales boar is the granddaughter of the one from the original game.
Oh
no!
And she's real cute.
What about the musician dog?
KK is in the game. I can buy singles from the shop. I haven't seen him yet.
Gotcha.
He appears in like sort of a dream sequence early on, I think, but
he did.
That's about it for now.
I think they said they're gonna put him in later.
Okay. Can randos visit your island? Like online randos.
I don't know a lot about how the online works. People can visit your island, but there are some anti-griefing things in place.
Yeah, like they can't move anything or edit your island, can they?
No, I don't think they can.
I saw
that off. Is my other question. Can you turn that off? Is also can you make it so people can't access your island?
I'm not sure.
I would assume you could, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it might have to be like an invite thing.
Yeah, that was my impression.
I didn't know if there was literally just like simultaneous online for like everybody, and you could just visit
open borders in Animal Crossing. No, I think it's a very. I think, like with a lot of Nintendo games, it's a very limited system of like, hey, you both have to be online and both be at the multiplayer visiting center and exchange codes at the exact same time in order for it to actually work. That's my understanding of it.
I think so too.
Yeah, if you want voice. God, I think
you have to have the headphone plugged in, even just for sending invites.
God, I hate that stupid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think they have like integration with the Nintendo app yet, do they?
I don't know.
I thought. Hang on, I have the app on my phone because I was downloading it, checking for that. So I'll check it again. You keep talking.
All right, but yeah, everything else, it's Animal Crossing. It's a system that's been pretty fine tuned at this point.
Yeah,
I do like, well. I'll talk insects and fish for a second. Now you have like a log that tracks everything you've caught.
Oh, good.
Which is great in itself, but it also shows when and how you can catch them. Like what time of year, what time of day, what location, does there need to be specific weather, which is really helpful.
Awesome. I did not know that, actually.
I don't think... I'm not sure if any of the other ones have had something like that. It's been a while since I've played New Leaf.
How many Animal Crossing games have there been?
I think 4 now.
Is that counting Home Designer?
Now that I think that with Home Designer that'd be 5, and with Amiibo Festival that'd be 6. If literally anyone wants to count that.
I forgot about Amiibo Festival.
Well, Amiibo Festival is
everybody does.
Just an add-on.
Isn't Amiibo Festival just a terrible like Mario Party clone?
That's insulting to Mario Party because it doesn't even have mini games. It's literally just board walking and dice rolling.
Holy shit.
So yeah, there's the original Animal Crossing, or Dibutsu no Mori, Animal Forest is the original Japanese title. And then there's on the GameCube, then there was City Folk on the Wii, there was Wild World on the DS, and there was New Leaf on the 3DS. And then it was now
Happy Home Designer, because they have brought aspects of that into New Horizons, like being able to move furniture by a half step and hanging stuff on your walls.
which I hear is real nice.
Oh, it is. Being able to put stuff outside, also nice.
Awesome.
Word.
I'm going to get to the big gripe I have with this game, like the top tier problem I have.
No sex scenes.
Well, besides that,
Not yet.
What's
one
the thing?
island per console.
Yeah. It didn't sound too bad when I first heard about the story. I was kind of confused by why people were griping about it. But then when I actually played it with my girlfriend and I started thinking about it, I was like, oh no. Oh, it's bad.
Yeah. Resources are not separate. Like, if I go and dig up all the fossils for the day, Jessica's not getting any.
If you take down all the fruit to try to sell them for your own profit and everything, nobody else gets them.
That sucks.
And also only one person I think can actually make progress in the game, like through tutorials, like getting special resources and actually meeting characters for the first time and special, like, lengthy, fun dialogue sequences, and actually make progress in the game and edit the island and everything. It's kind of like how there was only one mayor, in New Leaf and everything, who could actually make influential changes to their town and everything. So yeah, even if you have multiple copies of the game, you need multiple systems in order to actually have separate islands and everything, because they're tied. The islands are tied to the system itself. So it's almost explicitly a ploy to make people buy Switch lights and Switches in order to actually make everybody in a happy home for your family and everything. Make them shut up.
If you want to be a happy home designer,
buy your kids multiple Switches, you fucking dingus.
Yeah, it's more of an issue than it initially seems.
And what's even better, did you hear Nintendo's excuse as to why it's one island per console?
Oh, I'm guessing like some save duping, item transfer.
Yeah, it's to prevent cheating. Because, everybody's worried about the professional esports scene of fucking Animal Crossing.
But also,
holy shit.
The same guards they have in place for fucking Pokemon, where people are trading each other legendary shinies all over the place that have, like, impossible stats.
Yeah.
And, time travel is still a thing. The original way to get more resources.
Yeah, that's cheating much more than fucking item duping or anything, in my opinion. Just keep that in mind.
That massive gripe, it's still a fantastic game.
Cool.
Glad to hear it.
I'm glad you like it.
I've already seen some fun stuff people are making through the custom designs in game and everything, like people recreating like Palatown from Pokemon and everything.
Nice.
And other such fun stuff. And also the app is now working with Animal Crossing, so you can now take QR code scan images, I believe, and everything, and share and voice chat and whatnot if you want to fucking do that. So keep that in mind, kids.
It's too bad.
I'm sure Jessica will. She's been having fun with the clothing designs.
Mm-hmm. Stuff looks great.
It's too bad they never designed a voice chat app for gaming that, like, isn't directly tied to any specific game.
Yeah.
Right?
Man.
If only there was a thing that existed like that.
I would call it Darce Curd. Maybe someday.
We should patent it.
Sounds good.
Patent it like that coronavirus vaccine, am I right? Viruses! Millions of people dying for corporate greed.
Feelings about companies.
Marx was right.
Discourse is now Big Pharma was a mistake.
Bad.
Karl Marx warned us.
This run of Plague Inc. is too good.
Anyways, anything else you wanted to mention, Wally? Sorry, did you want to say something?
It's Animal Crossing. People have been foaming at the mouth for this game, and I'm pretty sure that's literal.
So it runs good and everything? Runs good?
Oh, it's fantastic. I have had no hiccups, no problems.
Awesome.
The music is great as always.
Cool.
Weather is dynamic now. Like, if you woke up and it was raining, it was going to rain all day. Now weather patterns will change.
Awesome.
The ability to change what hemisphere you're in is nice. You can change
awesome.
your gender on the fly.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah,
now that sounds like cheating.
There's just a lot of really nice quality of life changes outside of the fact that you only get one island per Switch.
Animal Crossing's fun. Kids, you should play it.
Oh, yeah. It is a welcome change of pace from what I usually play and from reality. Especially reality.
Word.
Yay. Let's see. Was that anything else, Wally? Or
no, that was my big recent one. I'm spent.
Okay. Chuck, do you want to go next or me?
I can if you want, guys. I don't have a whole lot.
That's fine.
Yeah, so as usual, bit of Stardew and everything. Bit of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, as always. And also been playing something else in the meantime. Something that Doug said that he was playing, but has not since mentioned. You kids might have heard about that communism simulator, Disco Elysium.
Damn.
It's that isometric RPG and everything that is communism and talking to your own body and everything.
But
and
it's
leveling
an
up
RPG?
your brain. It is an isometric, very, very story-heavy RPG. Almost like exclusively story and writing based.
It's way closer to like an actual tabletop RPG than it is like a regular ass video game RPG.
I would argue that it's a little too well written to be a tabletop RPG, but maybe that's me.
I take
my own experiences.
offense to that.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up, nerd.
Also, I think it is
writing
based
an
on
engaging story about an awakened red panda.
Bam.
So yeah, Disco Elysium, fun murder mystery thingamajigger.
How far are you into it?
My Steam thing says that I'm 20 hours into it.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was going to say I was going to ask where you were because I think I'm just about to finish up the third day.
Oh, then you're further ahead than me. I'm still in the middle of my second day.
Yeah, it has like the slowest like day to night cycle I've ever seen in a game.
Yeah. This game does not intend for you to blast through it.
No. Moment-to-moment activities are just like trying to follow up on leads to solve the mystery and everything, and maybe tackling other small mysteries and tasks along the way, and get to understand the world and whatnot, and maybe figure out who you are because you have amnesia and whatnot. Characters are very well written and very nuanced. I freaking love your partner Kim Kitsuragi. He's fantastic.
He's the same reason I love what is his name? Space cop guy from Mass Effect.
Garrus?
Yeah, he's the same reason I love Garrus.
Why is that? Just like slightly uptight asshole who actually has a good heart underneath and is willing to cut loose on occasion?
Yeah, uptight everyman who has a wild side when he needs to.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually. And yeah, the game strikes a great balance between having like pretty dark and brutal moments, but also having moments that are like pretty touching and serene. Like, just like it can be pretty brutal, like seeing a corpse winched right in front of you and just like it being brutalized by the local community and other such horrible things, but also like you making just very small victories and trying to get one step closer to the culprit, and Kim like patting you on the back for it and everything can be surprisingly touching.
But also it's like outstandingly hilarious at points because of its system mechanics.
Absolutely. I want to tell people about them, but I'm worried about spoiling it. So I'll just say that like you can pet mailboxes and call them good. You can hug old ladies who are just reading books in the street in order to help build communism.
You can accidentally become a white supremacist.
I'm not sure if accidentally is the word I'd use in that circumstance.
So did you kill yourself in that opening screen or no? I need to know.
I didn't, though I think I came close.
So this is the one sequence that I think is fair to spoil because it's literally at the beginning of the game. But there's a part where you wake up and you're completely naked and you have to get all your clothes. And if you don't do the right set of circumstances, you can kill yourself reaching for your tie that's spinning on a ceiling fan.
Yeah, I think I nearly died to that. Like, I think I was beaten half to death as a result of that.
I did die and had to restart the game because I didn't have a save.
I need to play this now. I'll have that for the next podcast.
It's good, really dude.
Good. There's another part where this is also super early in the game, but there's a part where I have to get a corpse out of a tree, and I kept failing the skill check for it, and every time I failed it, I would barf all over my clothes and shoes. And my partner and these shitty kids kept telling me to get my shit together. So I unlocked a equipable skill called the Shit Secure 9000 that gave me enough constitution to be able to get the corpse out of the tree.
Yeah, you have to like manually equip thoughts and everything, and that can drastically change your personality and other such things. Like you can have a inexplicable feminist agenda that gives you like a bonus in authority points against men and other such fun things. It's a really fascinating and fun system.
There's also a section where you can deny involvement with sabotaging a stuffed bird, and your character's response to that is to run away and then jump backwards in slow motion, flipping him off through a window.
Go on.
That game is fantastic.
It is real great. Everybody should play. And it's also it made me realize that like I have a really bad habit of like just barely starting like isometric story heavy RPGs like this and just not finishing them.
Yes.
Never really even got all that far in Divinity. And what was the other one I was thinking about?
You tried Baldur's Gate once, didn't you?
Yes, I played like an hour worth of Baldur's Gate, and that was all I ever played of Baldur's Gate. So yeah, but I know, fuck me. Yeah, there's just something about the genre that doesn't usually grab me. I think it's like I don't care for the combat systems in those games, from what I played at least.
This game doesn't have a combat system.
No, it has dice rolls exclusively, and I love it. Are you save scumming very hard? Because I'm save scumming like a bastard.
I'm only save scumming in a scenario in which I fuck myself so hard that that there's no way for me to get out of it, and I keep losing.
You're a braver man than I am.
So instead of just save scumming all the time, I'm save scumming and losing like 4 or 5 hours of progress if I completely fuck myself.
I'm like letting it fail the first time in order to see the funny fail reaction responses and everything, but then I'm save scumming to get the responses that I want and everything because I'm a loser. So yeah, Disco Elysium is a fun game. You should play it, kids. And that's about all I have. Doug, what have you been playing?
Well, unfortunately, I wanted to be able to come into this podcast to talk about Doom Eternal, which unlocked on Friday, but unfortunately, due to being like actually kind of overwhelmed at work and everything, I have not been able to get into it over the weekend. So hopefully I will have something to say about it next time. But
do you own it?
I do own it, yes. I did the preload and everything, but the one thing I can comment on that I was telling Wally about during the break is the funny little thing in the menu where so it has a performance metric mode where it can measure the game's in-game frame rate for you, in case you're curious to know.
Like a benchmark, sort of?
Yeah, that kind of thing, but it's just an on-screen performance metric that you can just have going on like while you're playing the game or something. And the one funny thing is that performance metric option has the exact same options as their graphical presets. So instead of explaining what any of them do, it just says low, medium, high, ultra, and ultra nightmare.
Interesting.
And ultra nightmare is an FPS counter, your VRAM usage, a 30 millisecond in-game graph showing how much GPU utilization is happening, full CPU utilization, CPU utilization per core, and then CPU and GPU temp. And it's just taking up like a third of the screen. So I thought that was very funny for them to include. It's extremely unnecessary, but appreciated nonetheless. So hopefully I will have more to actually say on that game next time, because I am very excited to play it.
I hear it's real good.
I've actually been seeing extremely polarizing opinions to it, so I'm very curious to try it out. Oh yeah, like between just reviewers and like longtime like Doom community members, like the reaction to this game has been very, very opposite among people.
I haven't heard any negative opinions on it, so I guess I live under a rock or something.
It's fine. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see it for myself, because I was a huge fan of Doom 2016. I'm a big fan of most Doom games. I don't think all of them are good, but the ones that I do love, I love a lot. So
like Doom 3.
Doom 3 sucks.
Doom 3
and that's actually
exists.
Doom 3 exists. It is Monster Closet, the video game, so not really my thing. But as far as games I have been playing, I will give a thank you to Nippon Ichi Software America for sending me over a review copy of Lancashire 1 and 2 remastered. For those of you that do not know what on earth Lancashire is, think Fire Emblem by way of Advanced Wars. And also think not the Sega Dreamcast or the Sega Genesis, but the Sega Master System, the NES competitor. 1994, I believe, is when the original Lancashire came out.
How the fuck do you spell Lancashire?
Hang on. Langeshier, I believe. That's how I wrote it, at least. If you can't find it, I would suggest just writing NIS America and then put Lang. But as far as a remaster, I do appreciate some little details where I really enjoy remasters that let you toggle on and off original content with the updated content. And this game does give you the option of either the updated portrait models for cutscenes and stuff like that, with not the original sprites, but instead like they've switched it out with like the concept art from the original game, like the ones that were in like guides and shit like that were published back in '94 and everything. And I have actually switched to those because the one thing I'll say about the remaster is they definitely went for a kind of soft anime look that I'll admit I think looks a tad generic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting looking at it.
Whereas the original art for the game, I would actually suggest looks a lot better, because it at least looks a lot more distinct. It's definitely like late 80s, early 90s style anime, and they've actually gone through the trouble of animating those original concept portraits, so the cutscenes still work for them. And you can also switch it out between the new maps and the old maps, and the old music and the new music. The new music, I think, does sound a tad better. The old maps are hilarious looking with updated sprites on them, so I do that some of the time too. But it's all right. I think it's pretty fun. It's definitely an alternate if you're interested in like older Fire Emblem and seeing a bit of like what was trying to compete with it at the time. I definitely think it is an interesting curiosity. I want to say this thing is like $30-$40, I think. I think it came out on everything. I'm playing it on PC.
Yeah, it's about $50 on PC right now.
Okay.
And there's also a demo if you're interested.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking personally, I mean, it is the first two games, so I have no real complaints about it. I think it's kind of neat. It's a nice little time waster, if nothing else. Very hard on the RPG part, because a lot of it involves like upgrading your individual units' skills and then upgrading them to to higher end units with different abilities and movement speeds. So, tactics.
Would you say it's a difficult game?
It is a difficult game if you don't understand some of the basic mechanics for it. So maybe a YouTube tutorial or something would be suggested, if only because I played through the first 3 missions of that game thinking that they were extraordinarily difficult until I found out that my commander unit can summon additional units, and the game did not tell me that. So
that could be an issue. That
would have been appreciated to know.
I might look into this.
I think it's neat. I think it's fun. And then the other thing that I did play, and I guess I should ask either of you if either of you have been playing it, because it is one of our news stories otherwise. Either of you tried Call of Duty Warzone?
I have not, because I don't have like 112 gigs free on my hard drive at the moment.
It is not.
I have the hard drive space. I just haven't gotten around to it, because if I want free to play, I'll go back to PSO2.
Bam. Air horn noise. It's
that
scared the shit out of me.
Well, it's 80 gigs, and I have been playing it on and off for about I don't even remember when this fucking game came out. Like, I want to say I've been playing it for like a week and a half, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, actually.
Yeah, I've heard some decent things about it.
I didn't think I would, just because I've been off Call of Duty online shooters for a very, very long time.
Since MW2?
Since, yeah, pretty much.
You and everyone else over the age of 25.
I think I played like a couple of rounds of MW3 at launch, and otherwise I never really fucked with it after. Well, no, that's not true. I did play a fair amount of Advanced Warfare, because I liked that game. But whatever. It's good. It's really good, actually. It's a 150-player battle royale. There is also a plunder mode that I think is kind of interesting, where it's I kind of liken it more to like playing time instead of stocks on Smash Brothers, where your teams and your goal is to try and reach $1 million by killing other players or completing specific objectives, and when you die, you just respawn.
And you have to like steal money bags and everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. The controls are pretty good. Lag and servers have been relatively reasonable, outside of like a DDoS attack that Blizzard dealt with over this last weekend, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun with it. I actually have been playing it more than I thought I would. So,
and they're using the same engine and general like gameplay mechanics, at least for combat, that were incorporated in the latest Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah, it runs out of the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, so. It runs out at the same tab if you're playing it through Blizzard's desktop app.
Man, that's still so weird to me to think about.
Yeah,
Blizzard apps running Call of Duty.
Yes, it's very weird. But
that is very weird.
But for what it's worth, I have had a lot of fun with it, actually. I think it's pretty fun. I've gotten like 3rd place a couple of times. I've played it enough to almost win, so that's cool, I guess.
Oh, good.
Let's see, and that's about it for me for video games. Should we move into the news?
Da 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 da. Talk about games and shit. That's what Doug usually says during the segment.
News.
Doug, what's the news?
Sorry, hang on. My app that I keep the news stories on just crashed.
The news is dead.
The news is dead forever.
I have a story that can fill the dead air while you're looking for that. So I was curious as to how New Horizons was selling and everything. And article from GameIndustry.biz says that it's doing pretty fucking well. Selling Nintendo's critically acclaimed sequel has sold more copies in its first week on sale than the launch sales of all previous Animal Crossing games combined, including spin-offs. The launch is 3.5 times bigger than their last game in the series, 2013's New Leaf on 3DS, which was at the time the biggest launch for the series. And that's only including physical sales, which I would think that, like, concerning the current state of the world and everything, would mean that, like, digital sales are also up. So
that doesn't really surprise me, if I'm being honest, because, like, the Switch is such a perfect storm of, like, educated fans and, like, a way larger amount of just generalized people, and also
a bigger install base.
Animal Crossing is a more known quantity now, as opposed to when it first came out and everyone was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, through word of mouth alone, it's spread like wildfire. It's kind of like The Sims in that way, I think.
Yeah. And, well, with Corona going around, people want something happy.
They want to be able to simulate normal life.
And, yeah, there's very few games that could be as chill and encouraging and just generally good for your mental health as Animal Crossing. So, yeah, this thing is kind of a perfect storm. And that's a good way to put it, Doug.
And it also probably helps that The Sims 4
is bad.
Still exists and is boring.
It's objectively worse than The Sims 3. I think, am I the only Sims fan on this podcast?
I like Sims 2 a lot.
I know it by proxy of Jessica, so I know the problems with 3 and 4.
Sims 3 is a very poorly optimized game even today, but and also The Sims has been plagued by terrible DLC practices and probably will be for the rest of its fucking life.
Oh god.
But yeah, Sims 4 is not great. Anyways, Doug, what have you got for headlines, assuming that it's up now?
COD goes free to play. If you didn't hear, it's crazy.
Is that just the Battle Royale, though, right?
Yes. Well,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Battle Royale and Plunder.
Yeah.
But it's Warzone. It was actually, the rumors had originally started for that thing where it sounded like it was going to be its next round of DLC, and I don't think anybody knew about this, like, just breaking it off into its own free-to-play thing, but yeah, so surprise, going about it the same way as Apex,
and seems to be having similarly good results, I guess.
I mean, they're already at 15 million players, so
all of marketing is pointless,
I guess.
Just like campaigning,
make things free and people will play them. Imagine that.
What a surprise!
Make all video games free. That's what we're saying.
Let's see here. These next two news stories are technically two separate news stories, but I'm going to combine them into one.
I would argue that the first story is directly related to the second story, and it's all one person's fault.
Do not insinuate this on the beautiful Reggie Fils-Aimé.
I will appoint it to Pizza Hut man if I want.
Hey man, he invented the Bigfoot pizza. He was there for us. Reggie Fils-Aimé joins GameStop board of trustees. Reggie, why? Was retirement that boring already?
Well, being on a board isn't exactly like all that connected to day-to-day business and everything. You're almost an advisee in a way. I mean, obviously it varies from place to place.
No, sure.
But I doubt it's like...
But why? That was my response to that headline, was just why.
Well, he wanted to... No, go ahead, Wally.
I think Reggie, icon that he is, saw that GameStop is, and will continue to be an accursed plague upon the industry and upon the general populace. And so, with his influence and power, and with a very ready body, he has joined it to try and bring it into something that isn't a crime against humanity.
So you're saying he's here to kick ass and play video games?
I'm saying he feels like a purple Pikmin.
My thought was that he just wanted to, like... So ever since he was a little boy, Reggie just always wanted to be on a burning boat that was sinking into a river and filled with deadly, horrible alligators and everything, but that's obviously really hard to come by and hard to set up and everything. So he figured, hey, I'll just fucking join GameStop. That's pretty much an equivalent.
He still secretly blames GameStop for the Wii U's terrible sales. He wants to personally bring them down from the inside. Operation Destroy You commence.
So yeah, Reggie is on the board. It doesn't. We haven't heard any headlines or rumors about what he's doing there or what he's influenced or anything.
Because he's probably home right now. There's probably not much to report.
He was only there for like what, less than 2 weeks before this started happening.
Yeah, basically. This like showed up like right before stuff started getting bad. But yeah, so that happened. Also, hey GameStop, please stop.
Forever. Please,
you are not an essential business. And this home delivery thing is actually kind of ridiculous.
So for those who don't know, there's a bit of a virus going around. It's bad. It can hurt and kill people. And so non-essential businesses are being asked to close down, like your local bars and restaurants and other such things, so that, people don't go to them and don't spread, neither employees nor customers spread the thing around and everything, saving lives and not overwhelm the healthcare system. GameStop, in their infinite wisdom and generosity, was trying to stay open to potentially kill their employees and customers, allegedly, because they feel as though they are an essential business during this crisis. And I'm sure that had nothing to do with the fact that two very highly anticipated games were coming out just this past Friday.
Well, that and Final Fantasy VII is next month, and you better believe someone is demanding they be open for that.
Yeah. So GameStop has been trying to fight tooth and nail to stay open in order to capitalize on sales coming up and everything. And also just because they're on hard times in general. So any day they don't stay open is going to hurt them.
Yeah.
But yeah, just regardless of what the law says or what's best for their employees or customers, they've been trying to fight for their profits, and that's disgusting. Thankfully, they have been forced to completely shut down, I think, in California, if I'm not mistaken.
I think New York is still able to semi-operate, but yeah.
And yeah, so some of their stores are now like, they closed off trade-ins until the crisis is over, and they're trying to swap to like some weird system of like, hey, order shit online and come to our front door, and it'll just be on the curb or something. I have no idea how that's supposed to actually work. They probably don't even know how it's supposed to work exactly.
Well, most pizza delivery is doing that now too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that actually makes anything all that much cleaner because, your employees are still handling the goods and shit, but, fuck do I know. It's better, I guess, but still, fuck GameStop for their terrible, terrible practices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I guess since we're on similar news anyway, I'm just gonna say, hey, fuck Casey-tron. Fuck Casey-tron to death.
This is a influencer streamer person.
Twitch streamer made some rather unsavory coronavirus-related statements that I don't really feel like repeating, and I don't feel like, if you feel like hearing them, feel free to look them up. Just fuck her.
Word.
Let's see here. Let's see. I want to get into some happier news. Okay. I know you guys don't usually care about football-related things, but I thought these were kind of neat. Madden 2020 added XFL teams, which that's weird.
Hypothetically speaking, if somebody didn't know sports ball, what does XFL stand for?
That is a weird made-up football league made by the WWE manager himself, Mr. Crazy Man.
Oh yeah, Vince has been trying to get the XFL for years. This is take two.
So it's like wrestling, but with football.
Extreme football.
It's extreme football.
Okay. Is it as crazy and stupid as wrestling is? Because if so, I could get behind that.
You wish it was more crazy, but who knows?
Yeah, wrestling's not in a good spot right now.
It never has been.
I love those empty crowds. I love those camera shots of the empty crowds.
Yeah, WrestleMania this year is going to be pre-taped.
Yeah.
Radical.
And then another little NFL related thing. 2K obtains a partial NFL license for non-simulation games.
What the hell does that even mean?
So, I mean,
in terms of game making,
backyard wrestling, backyard football can be a thing
Hmm.
again. Because Madden is considered a simulation title, so these are for more like arcadey titles. So shit like Backbreaker could come back and stuff like that.
I hear Backbreaker was good.
Backbreaker was neat.
I hope some fun games come out of this.
Yeah. I want non-simulation sports titles to come back. Because those were fun.
Yeah, give us sports, but ridiculous.
Everyone loved the SNES hockey games where it all of a sudden turned into Punch-Out. That was great. Let's see here. Non-gaming related. Harvey Weinstein, sentenced 23 years.
Woo!
Fuck you, Weinstein. I'm sure you're going to get out of it or just sit in a comfy cell anyway, but fuck you.
Trying to use that fucking walker to try to gain sympathy points from the public. Actually eat my asshole.
They should super glue that to him while he's in there.
That'd be dope. Eat shit, you old fuck. You disgusting old fuck.
There we go. Let's take a look here. Some fast little things here. Platinum Games developing the Platinum engine going forward for future releases.
Does that include their Giant Man video game thing?
Yeah, Project GG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that is going to be built in Platinum engine.
That
trailer looks fun, even though it's all CG nonsense.
Yeah.
They probably Bayo 3 at this rate, too. We've heard nothing about it.
I have a theory they're just going to, drop that game out of nowhere. I have a feeling that was their fight against, the PS5 and the Xbox whatever launches. The Xbox launches. Let's see here. Here's a random one. Former CSGO gamer Shy was found guilty of embezzlement and larceny and sentenced to 116 years.
What did he embezzle from and why?
And I couldn't exactly get an answer on that, if that was an organization she worked for or if it was an esports team. But yeah, so that was a thing. Just a notable thing for this community, someone in this community getting a big boy sentence. That's a big sentence.
Yeah.
That's bigger than Weinstein got, which says weird things about our society.
It says
we live in one of those.
About the fact that we live in a society.
It sure does.
But thanks to the coronavirus, we no longer live in a society.
Sure does. Hey, do you guys like talking about Crunch? Because I sure do love talking about Crunch.
It's a great story. It's
a decent candy bar.
There ain't no party like a Crunch party because the Crunch party don't stop. Never stops. Never, ever, ever stops.
Till the grave. Naughty Dog back in the news after a developer openly complains about their situation before leaving. So that's great.
Yeah, it was a higher up, wasn't it? Like a lead designer.
It sounded like a lead, yeah.
Yeah, just talking about how Naughty Dog's practices of crunch really cause high turnover among their higher level staff, and meaning that they have to bring in a lot of younger, less experienced folks in order to help fill those shoes and everything, which causes delays and development issues and just extension, makes their crunch even worse in a lot of ways, which is very unfortunate for a company that's so storied, so has games that are so well received and everything.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog, please stop.
Naughty Dog, please stop.
Or at least when legislation, hopefully, inevitably, comes around on these terrible practices, please shut the fuck up and accept them.
I try my best to just bring these up every time this comes up because it's not okay.
Yeah. As as difficult as it is to like keep bringing up the subject because there's not a whole lot to add other than just like, hey, company B is now also shitty. It's still important to touch on because it's not going to go away unless we keep talking about it, and it's still an issue and should be talked about.
It sure is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Don't worry, Lennon. We're getting to that story soon.
Let's see here. Here's a fun little bit of good news. Guilty Gear Strive confirms rollback netcode. Woo!
Oh, it's about time.
Watching Maximilian's reaction to that was priceless. He looked so much more relieved. But yeah, so good news to Guilty Gear Strive fans. Yay.
Maybe Arxis can adapt that going forward.
That would be lovely. I played a couple of matches of Grand Blue Fantasy, and that wasn't great.
Oh, imagine
Especially
if fighters could get rollback.
Oh man, that would be beautiful. I'd actually play that game again. Anyway, still on the subject of fighting games, but for very different reasons. Do you guys like DOA?
No,
Oh God,
because I don't. I have actual porn.
I forgot about this stupid, terrible fucking story.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
So I didn't understand this story at first.
Nobody would.
Because when I saw people complaining about microtransactions with DOA, I was like, but we already talked about this. It was already bad.
It was already as bad as it could possibly be.
And yet.
So as it turns out, you can change people's hair colors now, which, hey, that's big awesome. That's awesome that video games have evolved to the point that we can change models' hair colors on the fly. Good job, developers. Good job.
Character customization, always a nice feature.
Now, with this cutting-edge tech, however, they have had to figure out new streams of revenue to make this possible and keep these hair servers going. So, we all have to chip in. So for $1, you can change a character's hair color. But unfortunately, we are not all Jesus. Not all of us make mistakes. Some of us make mistakes. And unfortunately, with the way their hair servers are built, that is not an option for you to customize your character. That is now that character's permanent hair color until you pay an additional $1 to go back to their original hair color.
So yeah, you are not buying hair colors for you to change between on the fly or anything. You are paying for the option to dye it once, essentially.
Yeah.
And that is that's a level of disgusting I didn't even fathom and haven't fathomed until now.
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad. So, yeah, big shame on them.
Tecmo Koei.
It feels like they literally just ran out of every other scummy idea that they could come up with. They were like, I don't know, does anybody else have any other ideas? And some crazy person in the back was like, let's charge $1 to change their hair once.
It feels like they're acting.
Oh, that's crazy.
They're brainstorming harder on these tactics than they are on original game concepts.
That's fine.
Think about what that says about our society.
But also, we've been over this too, because they say it's not going to be a titty game anymore. It comes out, still a titty game, and then they apologize about it. They say they're not going to do horrible microtransactions anymore. They apologize about it. They do it anyway. They apologize about it. They did this. They apologize.
Sorry.
At some point, an apology feels extremely hollow when the exact same things just keep happening anyway.
Tecmo Koei proving themselves to be some of the shittest in the world.
Giving EA a run for their money.
Hey, somebody is happy about this. I don't know who. I am not that person. But somebody is happy about it, I guess.
Bad time to be a DOA fan, I guess.
When your 4th season pass is more than 50... it's 150% of what you paid for the actual game at launch, there's an issue.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe 2 characters, and like all the rest is just cosmetic options.
It's been a bad time for DOA since I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 that had a Spartan you could unlock.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah,
canonically, it's actually not Master Chief either. It's a different Spartan.
Oh, when you said Spartan, I thought like original, like ye olde times Spartan. I didn't know that there was a Spartan.
I literally meant a Halo Spartan.
I'm looking this up right now. Keep talking.
The character was fine. The controls were terrible.
And, fucking Spartan armor.
Yeah!
No one should be able to do anything to that.
No. I'm pretty sure Master Chief could just hold a frag grenade in his hand, and he'd probably be fine. As long as his shield is up.
Yeah, DOA 4, Spartan 458, also known as by her real name, Nicole.
Yeah. I just thought it was neat that it wasn't Master Chief, and they actually took the time to put in lore about her.
Yeah, that's nice, I guess. What is this series?
A question I keep... Less expensive. Its Japanese title translates roughly to less expensive than Virtua Fighter.
There you go.
When are we getting Extreme Beach Volleyball 4?
That already exists.
Does it? I thought they stopped at 3.
There's DOA Extreme, whatever the latest version of that is.
3, I believe. I think they have confirmed a 4th one. I could be crazy.
Oh man, got to get that Venus.
There we go. And then final thing, Sony comes out of the dark, actually starts talking about the PS5. Oh my god.
Actually starts talking at all.
Okay, did you guys actually watch any of this?
I tuned in for like the first 20 minutes, and I was like, oh, this isn't for me at all. This is for no sane human being. I'm tuning the fuck out.
I caught a reaction to it, and I was less than impressed.
I sat through the entire thing, and boy, that was awful. How'd
you like Dana Carvey?
So I am somewhat relieved that this was the talk for GDC and not like E3 time, even though they had already said they weren't going to E3. But I was under the impression that was their reveal for like a major audience, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
That would have been a garbage fire. That
would have been really, really bad. But thankfully, I mean, it doesn't excuse a bad conference. I think this would have been bad even for GDC because this was a lot of numbers, and this was a lot of stuff nobody cares about right now. And it also had bad news in it.
Would you like to tell us what that was?
Well, so this one part doesn't technically count as bad news because it doesn't technically matter. They did go over the actual specs of the console, and it is actually weaker than the Xbox, but what could be as strong as the Xbox itself.
Mm-hmm.
But they have not committed to full backwards compatibility for the PS4. They have actually explicitly said most, and I don't know what most means.
No one does.
That also currently shoots in the foot the theory of it being able to play all generations of PlayStation, which if it can't do that, that's an actual problem because the next Xbox absolutely can do that and can play back up to 4 generations at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything playable on Xbone will be playable on Xbox.
Yeah. They went really hard on 3D audio as well, which 3D audio is cool, but like they even pointed out in their own thing that people don't always hear that the same. So designing around that would be difficult to say the least.
Yeah.
It was a very dry presentation.
It was very bad. I sincerely, for their sake, hope that they have a much better one in a few months' time if people start wanting to hear about video games again.
Word. But also one could argue that was for game developers instead of like the general public. So I feel a little torn, but also
GDC
still disappointed.
GDC is such a weird spot though, because like on the one hand I agree, but on the opposite hand I'm like, but then why is it open to the public? Like, why are you making these, like, why do these have to be super dry, uninteresting events? Like, GDC has interesting conferences, but, like, every time Sony is there, I literally fall asleep. Like, John Carmack has done interesting talks there. John Romero has done interesting talks there. Microsoft has done interesting conferences there, but like Sony specifically, I always just think are very uninteresting.
So yeah, kids, hope you enjoyed the Gigabyte conference Sony machine thing.
Yeah.
It's going to have an 850 gigabyte SSD in it.
Yeah. And memory cards. They're bringing back memory cards.
I was going to say.
Yes, but that's kind of where the PS5 has maybe a slight advantage.
In what way?
Series Xbox is going to have memory cards that are Xbox branded, and those are the only ones that work. Sony is using all-purpose ones, like ones that already exist. Of course, it depends on which ones actually work on the PS5, which we don't know yet. So they could also just end up being stupid, crazy expensive.
Distinctly possible.
Distinctly possible, considering similar a la carte measures of buying it for your own personal rig would definitely net you in the $100 to $200 range per. At least speaking from personal experience.
Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's pretty much it for the conference. That's pretty much it for my news, unless you guys had anything else.
Fuck, I had a thing, but
there hasn't really been any rumors. So the rumor
I was going to say
down.
everyone's a little distracted right now, so no rumor stops at the moment. We just see it whizzing on by.
I keep hearing slight things about maybe Sony buying Silent Hill from Konami and everything, but I'm not sure it's very substantiated.
So that is unbelievably unsubstantiated in a way that I just didn't even feel like putting it up. I mean, that would be super cool because I do honestly want Silent Hill and Metal Gear to come back, but
Or to at very least get the fuck out of the hands of Konami.
Yeah.
There's just all it is speculation. There's not a shred behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the time being, hopefully that's a good rumor. Hopefully it comes true the way Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on PC was.
Word.
Do you see that fucking video of that guy that was like so pissed off that game is coming to PC?
I thought I heard something. Could you send it to me?
Like,
I'd love to see it.
He smashes his office apart, and then he posts that on Twitter, and then one of the leads for the port of that game just responds with, "What are you doing?" But it, yeah, so that was the thing. I don't think I have anything else unless you guys do.
Think I'm good.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Doug, if people were to send us questions or news headlines so that we didn't have so much dead air on the podcast, where could they send them?
They could send them to questions@alternativeinput.com. I'm
going to say again because your fucking kid is talking and getting in the way of the audio.
Sure is. He's very excited. That's right. It's questions@alternativeinput.com.
Yeah, don't worry. When I'm not actually upset with you. I just want people to be able to hear it properly, and that's questions that floating up.
You botched it.
It's because it's your fucking fault. You mentioned it in the last one. That's what fucked me.
I did.
Fuck you. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us.
If you want to disrupt Chuck's dreams with improper ways to say this, send them to questions at alternativeinput.com.
That's right. Thank you all for joining me.